Good morning once again, grade 10. So I hope you are all doing well despite the situation of our country. I hope you guys are okay. So this time we're going to move to our next lesson, which is on textual aids. Okay, so when we say textual aids, these are visual elements in a page that are helpful in previewing the text. Now, sometimes when we are reading, it's a little bit difficult to understand some text, especially if there are only words and paragraphs. Now, the work of textual aids is to give us a better understanding of a certain text by giving us some visual elements. So there are many kinds of visual textual aids, but we will be focusing on the 9, which we are going to discuss in this module. First on our list is the title. It's very easy when we say title. This gives the gist of the story or the main idea of the thing that we're going to read. So to give us an example, the title of this module is textual element. So definitely when you see that, it will give you a hint that the module is all about textual aids. Okay, so what if I'm going to give you an article entitled Greek Drama? What comes into your mind if you have this title? So maybe you're going to think about Greek mythology or drama that are taken from Greek literature. So that is the purpose of title. It gives you an overview or the gist, the main idea of a certain article. The second one, we have here the graphic organizer. So when we say graphic organizer, this is a visual display that demonstrates relationship between facts, concepts, and ideas. Now to give you an example, let's have the following. So this is a graphic organizer about constructing a paragraph. So the first one we have here, on this part you're going to give us a topic sentence, then you're going to write here supporting details, another supporting detail, until you reach the conclusion. So this shows you the relationship of words and ideas in a paragraph. So this one gives us a visual summary of the things that we're going to do. So that is the purpose of a graphic organizer. Now, next is our flow chart. This is very popular. It is a graphic or a symbolic representation of a process. So again, there is a process that there are steps in which one thing or something is being done. So let's try to take a look at the example. So the writing process. So this flow chart shows us the step-by-step process and how we're going to write a certain piece. So we start there from pre-writing down to the writing, responding, revising, editing until publishing. So if you notice in a flow chart, normally there are arrows that shows the first step up to the next step and then the next step until you finish the process. So others also made use of steps or stairs to show the process of a certain thing or how one thing is being done. We have here one of the most commonly used textual aid. We have here the Venn diagram. So the Venn diagram is used to identify the similarities and differences between two or more concepts and made use of circles. That's one of the prominent features of a Venn diagram. So let's try to take a look at the following example. We have here a Venn diagram showing the differences and similarities between birds and bats. So you can see there that birds are similarities. We have here the one in the middle and then the differences on the outer part. Okay, so this is an example of a Venn diagram showing differences and similarities. Now, is it possible to put another circle? Of course. It says there two or more things can be compared and reviewed in terms of similarities and difference. We also have the cause and effect diagram. As it implies, it emphasizes the connection between the different concepts. It says there cause and effect, so definitely it talks about the effect and the causes of a certain thing. So let's try to take a look at the example that follows. In our example, we have here, this one is the effect, the increase of women in the workplace. So if this is the concept, we're going to find the cause and then the effect, the cause and then the effect, the cause and then the effect. So this is an example of a cause and effect diagram. Now they could be presented in a different way, but for this discussion, we're going to make use of this diagram. And of course, we also have here our concept maps. So generally, concept maps is similar with a graphic organizer. It goes with circles and arrows, but for concept maps, this is a general organizer or a textual aid that shows the central thought with its matching characteristics. So they always go back to one single idea and it branches out into different characteristics. So to give you an example, we have, okay, so this is an example of a concept map. So there goes the main idea, the concept, the components, and other parts. And from here, it can also branch out. But all of these will go back to the central idea written in the middle of the diagram. So that is an example of a concept map. Now we have here the pie graph. As the name suggests, it's a circular chart which is divided into slices or portions to illustrate proportion. So it looks like a pie and it is divided into portions or slices. Then it illustrates proportion or meaning. So let's try to see the example that follows. Okay, so let's try to take a look at the following example. It says there, methods of traveling to school. So there are 2, 4, 6 categories in which the pie is being divided. So 8% walks, 9% made use of car, bus, cycle, train, and the rest. So a pie graph shows you the division or the proportion of entries in a certain data. We also have here the line graph. So when we say line graph, it is a common type of chart which displays the information as a series of data points connected by line segments to show trends. So it shows trends. So let's try to take a look at the following example. Okay, so in our example here, we have here the distance in meters and the times in second, the time in seconds in which Albert, Bob, and Charlie tried to beat. So in case of Albert, in 12 seconds, he was able to finish a 100 meter. And then in Bob's case, he was able to do it in 14 seconds, and Charlie did it in 17 seconds. So this graph or this line graph shows you the trend of how far or how fast these three people were able to beat the distance of 100 meters in terms of seconds. And then the last one we have here, the timeline. It is a graphic representation of the passage of time. So what happened at a certain point in time. Okay, so that's the use of the timeline. Let's try to take a look at the TikTok timeline. Nowadays, it's a very, very popular thing to do on social media, but let's try to see how it started and how is it performing these days. So it was developed in 2016 in China and was launched in May 2017 in the global market, and it reaches US in 2017 November. And then in August 2019, it gains 100 million users via merger. And then up to this time, in February 2020, it generates a record of 113 million downloads and makes nearly 2 billion lifetime installs in total. So when we say timeline, it talks about events at a certain point in time. It is for us to see what happened what happened in this part until the present time or until a certain point in time. So that is the work, or that is the purpose of a timeline. So there we go. We are done with the different kinds of textual aids. Now, I hope you were able to see the differences, the purposes of each, and then how you're going to use them and how you're going to interpret them. So in your activities, you can see there what is the most suitable textual aid in which you're going to interpret a certain text, or if you're going to read and a certain article, you'll be able to be helped by these textual aids. So thank you very much. I hope you have learned something. I'll be seeing you in our next video. Bye bye.